Hi friends, welcome to my channel Chic and Savvy, where we talk about all things relating to planning and budgeting. My name is Carissa, and today we will be setting up my November section of my finance planner. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's finally here. We only have 2 more months until the end of the year, and I'm freaking out, everybody, freaking out. So let's go ahead. We are going to be focusing on setting up our November section. So we're going to be doing our bill calendar, and if we have time, hopefully I'm going to try to kind of fly by setting up the bill calendar, because I want to talk a lot about what's going on this month, because we have some extra checks this month, and our budget is going to look very, very different than how it has been, because we have a lot of things going on this month. So we're going to do the bill calendar. We're going to talk about that. And then if we have time, we'll do the budget overview sheet. We'll see if we can squeeze that in, but that is the agenda for today. So let's go ahead and flip to the November section, and we'll just do a quick flip through of all the pages, so that way you guys know what I put into each of my sections. This is my finance planner. I have all 12 months here. It is a thick one because I keep all my finance sheets, my budget sheets, all of that stuff in one spot, so that way I can at a glance look at this and see what's going on with my finances. So let's go ahead and flip to November. If you guys want like a more in-depth view of my finance planner, I have I think like a setup video or a flip through video of like every single sheet, and I go into way more detail. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead and do so, because this is not as in-depth as that one is. But this is my November section. So I actually already have my goals written down with my husband, which is crazy because we never do that ahead of time, but I did it this time. Let's go ahead and flip through the November section really quick. So first we start off with our finance goals, and this is the goals for the entire month. So I won't go into this too much. I'll go into this more when we are discussing our bills and everything, but we start with the goals. Then we have our November bill calendar. I get this from LittleBirdieCanada, and then I kind of just choose a design that she does. And I chose this like Gilmore Girls coffee theme. I have watched Gilmore Girls before. I don't know if I've seen it all the way through, but I've definitely seen like the first couple seasons like multiple times. And I know what happens and all the things like that. So I thought this was just a super cute November theme to kind of get away from the fall, which is like we've been doing for September. But I loved how she colored this in, and she had the idea of putting like the coffee rings in. So I tried to mimic that as best I could, but I think it turned out really cute. So I'm really loving it. So we're gonna set this up today. Next, we have our budget overview. So this is the budget for the entire month that I like to have here, so I know exactly what all of the bills and everything is, so that way I know how much we are going to be able to save at the end of every month. So I do like to have that in the beginning. And then this is the extra check that we filled out last week, and so I put that at the start of November because it was technically for November. But we have all of the paycheck planner sheets and the cash breakdown sheets, so we have a few of those. And then we have our sinking funds tracker. So I was thinking about this more and more, and I think I'm gonna change this. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. I just know that I'm gonna need a lot more room, because I was looking over how I was kind of already planning for next year and kind of looking at what categories would best suit us, since we are going to be moving into a home, and what that entails and what our savings goals are really going to look like. So I think after me and my husband discuss it, this is really going to change, and I think we're going to have to introduce another binder for sinking funds, for like a home binder. So we're going to add a few more sinking funds into our routine, and this page is going to have to change because there's a lot more. So I'm keeping this in here for now, but I will be tweaking it. I do make all of these sheets myself on Canva. So, and that's exactly why I like to make them myself, because I like to switch things out and change them, because life changes and my budget and my finances are always changing for me and my husband. So I just find it easier to kind of mold this to what I like and how it fits our lifestyle. And then I have a savings tracker. Again, this is also going to be changing. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to write all these down. It might just have to be like lined paper, so that way I can fit more on the page, opposed to like these cute boxes, just because there's way too many savings that we're going to be saving for, and it just doesn't make sense to have it all on one, because it would be too small to have everything on there. And then I just have like a note section here. So that is all of the pages in the section, and that's what I like to track. That's what fits us best, and it's been working so far and we really like it. Next, we're gonna try to do our bill calendar as quickly as we can, because there is a lot to discuss with the calendar. This is not a typical month, so that's why things are going to be going crazy, and for a few different reasons. But let's go ahead and just review our financial goals for this month. So me and my husband want to save for our home purchase. I have been talking about this for maybe the last 6 months, that we were debating on whether to buy a house, and then we decided to make it a goal of ours to try to buy a house by the end of the year. And that is the journey and the track that we're on to set to do. So the end of the year is 2 months away, and the home purchase that we are working towards is coming up a lot sooner. So this is our last month to really save as much as we can to make that dream a reality. So our priority is to save for the home purchase. We want to minimize our spending and to prep for the end of the year. So with the end of the year, not only are there a bunch of financial things going on, it's also the end of the year. And I have to plan out how next year is going to go, how Christmas is going to go. Me and my husband haven't quite discussed all of that yet. So that is one of our goals, to try to discuss how the end of the year is going to look financially, so that way we can prepare and then start preparing for next year. So for goal 1, saving for the house, we want to try to save at least $2,500 this month to put towards the home purchase. And we need to do that by the end of this month. So that is our goal. We have been saving as much as we can, but we were really focused on the credit card debt, and we haven't really been saving for the house. But now that we reached our goal with the credit card debt, now we can put our entire focus on the home purchase. Goal 2 is minimizing our spending. I want to say that we could probably do a no spend November, but for us, that's just really not realistic. So we can try to minimize our spending by sticking to our budget and limiting eating out as much as we can. Also, we need to get ourselves accustomed to that life, because once we move into the house, things are going to look very, very different for us, opposed to how things are going right now, because we live with my parents and we aren't paying for a mortgage. Goal 3 is finalizing the December budget and kind of discussing Christmas and how everything is going to work once we get into our new house. That is kind of hard to finalize, because we don't have exact amounts yet of how much everything is going to cost, like utilities, different bills like Wi-Fi, and the mortgage itself, and the HOA, and insurance, and everything like that. We don't have those exact numbers, so we can't really finalize a budget until we have those numbers. But once we get closer to the purchase of the home, we'll start to see what that looks like, and then we can prepare best we can. So those are the goals for November. So let's go ahead and turn to our our bill calendar, which is looking so cute. I'm in love with it. My parents were like, why are you putting coffee on the sheet that you just colored in? And I was like, no, it goes with the aesthetic. Like coffee, like stamping, making it look like I was in a coffee shop and, you know, I was working on it. It just looks very vibey and, you know, they didn't get it, but it looks cute. It looks cute. So if you don't know how the bill calendar works, let me go to October and I'll kind of just explain it a little bit before we get into it. Okay. So how the bill calendar works is first I date the calendar for that month, and then I write down when all my pay dates are, and then when all my bills are due, and then I color code each pay date with a certain color, and then I highlight the bill we are going to pay with that pay date with the same color. So for the first paycheck is in this green color. Any bill that you see in green, we're going to use that paycheck to pay for those bills, which is what we did. Same thing with the second paycheck in orange. Any bill in orange is what we used that paycheck to pay for. Purple here, so that paycheck was used to pay for this bill. This paycheck was in yellow, so any bill in yellow we used that paycheck to pay for. So that way I know exactly when I am budgeting, and I know when I look at that paycheck, I'm like, okay, what bills do I need to pay? Boom, boom, boom. I don't have to kind of figure out or decide what that's going to be. I already pre-decide that with my husband. And we kind of just basically break out our bills so that way each payday is kind of even and we have enough to pay each bill before it's due, and we aren't paying a lot of bills on one paycheck and no bills on the next. We kind of split it out so that way our money is pretty even each week. So we both get paid bi-weekly, but we get paid on opposite schedules. So we do get a paycheck every single week, and that is how we budget our funds. So this is what we are going to be filling out today. So let's go ahead and get over there. And the colors that we use to do this are the colors that I use to color this in. So I have those colors here. A few of these are super dark, so we're gonna have to figure out if it's gonna pick up the black. We shall see. But these are the colors that we are vibing with for November. So we have those, and then let me go ahead and get our number stickers. These are the stickers I use for the paydays. They're translucent, so that way when you highlight for the payday, you can see the marker underneath. And so I'm gonna have to order these because I'm getting close for next year, but I get these from the Aesthetic Dollar. I love her shop, and I got a few different stickers from her and I really love them. So that's what we're gonna be using for that. But first, let's go ahead and pick a number color that is going to go with our theme, which is going to be very, very limited. I need to do some research on where to find another number pad like this, but they specifically have to be this size. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. You probably can't tell the size on camera, but they are pretty small. But I'm going to definitely use the same system for next year. But I need way more colors because this is it. It's these colors and these colors, and they're pretty much the same. So I'm definitely going to need to look for something else because it's hard to narrow down the color when there's so few options. So we have basically, I wish there was a brown. Like this is peach, it's not gonna work. This blue doesn't match, so nothing on that page. I could use the red or the light blue. That's really the only options here. I kind of want to go with the light blue. Like, this is the blue that the cup was supposed to be, but I didn't have that light of a color, so it would have matched. I just feel like I'll need the red maybe for December, because I feel like the vibe will either be that color or green for December. I don't know what I'm going to choose yet, but I don't really see any other color working for December aside from that red. So I feel like I'm going to need it. So I'm not going to make this complicated. Let's just go ahead and use that blue. I know there's sometimes where I can't decide. I'm pulling up a calendar here so I can take a peek. Where I can't decide and I have to keep going back and forth. But I'm going to go ahead and put these colors on, and then I will see you guys in a bit. So I have all of this ready. This is going to get a little weird because I had to show the 24th for last week, but it makes sense in my mind, so we're just going to go for it. So I have everything listed here. So next we'll go ahead and do the paychecks, and we have a few extra checks in this month. So what that means is when you are a bi-weekly employee, you get 26 paychecks a year. Now, if you split your bills up, you only need 2 paychecks a month to pay your bills, which means that's 24 paychecks in total. So you have 2 extra checks every year. And so me and my husband's extra paychecks fall at the end of October and in November, but we're going to just count them for November. So I have to reflect that in our calendar, which is going to make things a little weird, and it's going to make our bills this month a little weird too. So with that being said, let me go ahead and just write all our bills out. But let's first assign a color because we're going to need to highlight the color first. So we have 6 paychecks this month because we have those 2 extra checks plus our regular 4 paychecks that we get paid. And so some of these one of the extra checks falls in October. I think 2 of them do. So that's why I kind of have to reflect them here. And in October, if you remember, we reflected them here when we were doing our calendar. So let's go ahead and make those ones the darker colors. So we're gonna do one in this chocolate color, and that was on the 24th. So I'm not going to put a sticker down for the pay date because 1, there's not enough space and I don't want to waste a whole sticker for it. So we're gonna put a line. Yeah, I don't know if the black is gonna show up. Right there. And the next one is on the 30th. So we will have to make that one. Let's see the order I want to do this because I kind of want to split up the color so not all the browns are together. Maybe like that. So the next one is in blue. Actually, let's make the blue further down. So we'll do red. So it was on the 30th. And then our next one is on the 7th. And then the next one is the 13th. And then the 21st. And then the 23rd. I think it's gonna be the 26th because the 27th is Thanksgiving and this is my paycheck and that's a holiday, so it's actually gonna be the 26th. Okay. Ooh, I wasn't filling these in. So okay. And the 24th was the extra check that we budgeted last week. So we are just gonna write extra check. And a lot of people call this a different name. They call it like magic paycheck, extra check, free check. They all really mean the same thing. So we're just gonna call ours extra check. And then the next one on the 30th, this marks our November 1st paycheck. So paycheck number 1. And then the paycheck on the 7th is going to be paycheck 2. And then the next one is going to be another extra check. And then we have paycheck number 3. And then paycheck 4. Perfect. So let me go ahead and put these stickers on and then we will write down all of our bills. Okay, so I have them here. Oops. And so they're just a translucent sticker that's why I put the highlight underneath it so that way you can see the color. And that's just what I find works best. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and write all of our bills down like we did for the calendar here. So I'm gonna go ahead and write all those out and then we'll go ahead and highlight together and kind of walk through the process. We have all of the bills written down. So now let's go ahead and highlight when we are going to pay each bill. So the first one was our extra check, which is in this chocolate color. And even though it was an extra check, we did want to pay one of the bills early. And that was our city bill because we were trying to reach a goal with paying off one of our debt balances. And so we wanted to do this early. So this is a really dark marker. I wrote something in this and you probably can't see it on camera. But we're just going to go ahead and color it anyways because I know what it represents. Oh, that one you could actually see. So that is the only bill that we paid with that dark color already since that happened last week. So paycheck 1 is October 30th in the red. And with that, we're gonna pay Verizon and PlayStation and the Fed loan. So the reason I'm not highlighting UNISA is we have a little bit of flexibility with paying this. They don't have like a penalty or anything with paying it late, and it is a little bit of a larger bill. So I wanted to put it with a different paycheck so that way my bills are kind of evened out. So the next one is in the light color, and that is paycheck 2. And with that one, we are not going to actually be paying any bills with. So we're gonna leave that. Oh, that's kind of lame. We're not using that color. I should have made it that dark one. Oh well. So we don't have any bills that we are paying with that paycheck. So I'll go into more of how we're kind of deciding that, because we are trying to save for the house, and that's a majority of where our savings is going, but we aren't paying anything with that paycheck. So the next one is in this caramel color, and we are going to be paying Canva Pro, ACC, PenFed, and that is it. So those are the bills that we're going to be using with that paycheck, which is our extra check. I think I might be getting myself confused for paycheck 1, paycheck 2, extra check. Yeah, so with this extra check, we are going to be paying a few bills just because we didn't want to fall behind. Now I could have used this paycheck to pay for them, but we just wanted to use this one. With the extra paycheck, we still try to stay on schedule. It just really means for us that we have more money to save in that month when we get that extra paycheck. So the bills kind of remain the same. So for the next one, that is our third paycheck, we are going to be paying for USAA and Tony student loan. And this actually needs to get paid with the other one, the caramel color. I skipped it. And then the last paycheck is going to be covering Webtoon, Cox, Crunchyroll, Unissa, and True West. And also, because going into December, because this bill right here for December is going to be due before the next pay date, which is going to be the 5th, we're going to pay that bill too. So that's why I wrote this week down here. So that paycheck is going to be paying for those bills. Perfect. So that is kind of how we decide on how we're paying for each. And we discussed that off camera because we kind of want to see, I have like an Excel sheet where we plug in all the numbers, and I can see like, okay, like how much money are we going to have left over after paying these bills? And what we kind of do is we try to just make sure that the total amount of bills that we're paying for the week is pretty much even each week. So that way our money isn't like we're paying for all the bills with the first paycheck and all the bills at the end of the paycheck, at the end of the last paycheck. We just kind of like to spread it out. So that is how we decide to do that. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So that is how we set up our bill calendar. So let's go ahead and cross off that one, since we already budgeted that paycheck last week. And this week we're going to be budgeting for this paycheck right here, but we're not going to be doing that in this video. I'll have a separate budget with me video for that. Okay, so now a little update on November, and then I'll try to maybe do the budget overview super quick, so that way this video isn't really long. But November is a crazy, crazy month for us. So one, we have 2 extra checks, which is great because we are trying to hit the savings goal of saving $2,500 for our house. And a majority of that money is going to be going towards that. So with my budget with me videos that I usually do, we usually have, like, let's just go to one in October, like this one. So after budgeting all of our bills, our bills, our variable expenses, and our debt. We typically have around, it's pretty much around this number each paycheck, except for paycheck 3. But it's usually somewhat around the same amount-ish. October was a little bit of a weird month too. But we usually have this much left over, and then we pretty much decide which sinking funds we want to put that money towards, and then we get that money from the bank, and then we cash stuff those categories. November is not going to be like that. So our budget with me's are still going to happen because we still are going to budget each paycheck, but the sinking funds portion, we are not going to be prioritizing any other sinking funds during this month, aside from like haircuts, because that's something that has to happen, or else my husband's hair gets really long. His hair grows really fast. So when we get to this portion of the budget and we have $500 left over, we're still going to be budgeting for our sinking funds. For our savings challenges, because that's something that I still want to prioritize because we want to hit some goals for the end of the year. But the rest of the money is going to be going towards the house fund. So it's not going to be very exciting to do cash stuffings. I'm going to have to try to figure out if I'm still going to do them or not, because I'm not going to cash stuff one category, because I don't cash stuff my bills. I do cash stuff my wallet, but I just might make that into like a short form video. And then I do have the the savings challenges that I'm going to stuff. But again, I'm not going to make a video for 3 envelopes. I'll probably, again, just make a short form video for that. So I don't know how exactly I'm going to approach that just yet. I didn't do a cash stuffing last week because it was the same thing. I didn't really have any envelopes to cash stuff because all of our money went into 2 envelopes, the home fund and then the haircut fund. So I just want to give you guys that information ahead of time, because that is what the whole month of November is going to look like, because all of the money that we have left over in our budget, I'm trying to figure out why that box is so small. Oh, because it's the budget overview. I was like, it's usually big. So right here. So all of the money that we have left over, like right here, we had 690. And see how we only had a few categories? I'm not going to do a cash stuffing just for that, because future home, because it's going to be such large amounts, I'm not going to take that money out of the bank. I'm just going to transfer it into our savings account because it's just easier that way. So then the only envelope I would have is haircuts, and I'm not going to waste a whole video on that. So I don't think I'm going to be putting out those videos. I will be putting out the budget with me videos. But this month is just going to be so different because all of our money is going into one category that it just doesn't make sense to do that. So be on the lookout for stuff like that. It's only going to be happening for this month. Once we get into December, things are going to go back to how they usually are. But I'll probably give you guys way more information because starting in December, we're pretty much planning for our budget to look completely different, because we're hoping to have a house by then. And if you're a homeowner, or renting, if anything, that your majority of your money goes to groceries, household supplies, and your mortgage and your other bills. So our savings is no longer going to look like this. It's going to be like $20 to $50. So we're going to have to get creative on doing savings and cash stuffing, but we'll get to that when we get there. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that my cash stuffing videos are probably not going to happen in November, just because we're saving all of our money towards the house. But I will still be doing our budget with me's. So that is the gist of how November is going to go. Let's go ahead and fly through the budget overview sheet if we have time. I don't know how long this video is going to be. You know what? Let's go ahead and not do that. I will go ahead and do the budget overview sheet when I do my budget with me for the first paycheck of the month. Yeah, let's do that. I'll kind of do 2 budgets with me then. So that is everything for our November setup. I hope it wasn't too confusing for you guys. We have so many exciting things coming up, but also super, super stressful financially and personally. So I'm so happy I have you guys to take on this journey. Because it's almost been our 1 year, guys. I started the channel in December, or was it January? I can't even remember. But we have been working towards all of this for almost a year, and I'm so excited to still be here with you guys and feeling all your love and support. It just means so much to me and my husband. So thank you so much. But that is our setup for November, and I'm so excited to see the weeks to come and now everything is going to go. But I want to thank you all for being by my side throughout this journey, and I can't wait to see where life takes us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, friends.